Hello and welcome to this edition of EMS Now Up Close. I am Eric Miskell with EMS Now, and today I get to speak with Garret Maxson. Garret is the VP of Operations with ACDi. It's an EMS company on the East Coast. And Garret, welcome. Glad for the opportunity to get to meet you and to learn more about ACDi.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Why don't you start by introducing yourself, kind of who you are and your history in the industry before we start talking about the company.
Yeah, so I'm Garret Maxson. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at ACDi. I've been here for 14 years now. Came out of the PCB Layout side of our business as a printed circuit board designer and grew into the manufacturing side and now oversee all three of our manufacturing locations.
Okay. Excellent. And that's how I wanted to hear about you. I mean, ACDi itself, let's get into the company. It's got a history within this industry, right? So tell us about that. I think founded in 1984.
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
So ACDi is celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, coming up in August. We've been around since 1984. We started out as a printed circuit board layout design house. We've been designing boards for over 40 years, lots of expertise there, still a very important part of our business. And, naturally, your design customers, you get through a very complicated design and then you want boards. Engineers need to test the product. So it was kind of a natural growth path for ACDi in 2004 when we grew into the manufacturing space, acquired a company here in Frederick, Maryland, and was able to start delivering prototypes to our customers after we were finished designing the product for them.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown significantly since then through acquisition. We acquired a company down in North Carolina, Fawn Electronics, in 2012. Gives us a geographic presence in that, outside of Raleigh area, the Research Triangle. And in 2021, we were able to move into the Northeast market. A little bit tougher to penetrate that market if you're don't have a presence up there. And acquired a facility in Branford, Connecticut, which is another just manufacturing location for us.
Yeah, excellent. And so you got the three facilities. What kind of industry sectors do you focus on?
Yeah, so our headquarters here in Frederick, Maryland, where we were founded right outside of DC, you can imagine a heavy DoD end customer presence. I'd say about 80% of what we do is going to the Department of Defense through a prime or subcontract. So you're dealing with relatively smaller volumes, higher technology space, smaller volume, more quality requirements, higher engineering presence here out of our Frederick facility, as we see through more NPI efforts, more high technology product types. Our North Carolina and Connecticut facilities are more higher volume, and that is largely due to the markets that they're in. The commercial industrial space, a lot of instrumentation type products, a little bit lower technology, but more mature runners, higher volumes. Nothing significantly high volumes. I would still consider it low volume. I know that's kind of a relative term, but
yes,
in general, we're a pretty high mix, low volume, servicing kind of that DoD commercial industrial clientele.
Okay. And so it sounds as if the three facilities have their own kind of expertise. So depending on who the customer is, they would be slotted into kind of a center of excellence for that type of manufacturing.
Yeah, I mean, so a new customer comes in and, a lot of times they want to work with somebody close to them. And that's, how you get your foot in the door. That geographic presence really helps you engage at a customer level. But ultimately, when you develop that relationship with them, the factory closest to them may not be the factory that makes the most sense for their product or the requirements that they have. So, we'll evaluate a new opportunity when it comes in. Certainly, if the customer is right across the street and they want to work with somebody right across the street, we can quote it through that facility. But if that's not a firm requirement, we do look at it from a technology standpoint, a volume. Product maturity is a big one. I mentioned we have a heavy engineering presence out of our Maryland facility. It helps see new products, launch successfully.
Mhm.
There's a lot of hand-holding involved with new product, and
Yeah.
having a bigger engineering support team can help make that go a lot smoother. Ultimately, we then, as that product matures, maybe we take advantage of a lower cost option. We have different labor rates out of our three facilities. So if pricing becomes important, we can look at doing that. Technology wise, pretty similar across all three sites. Because of that NPI environment, we do more low volume testing out of our Maryland facility than we do out of our our North Carolina or our Connecticut facilities. And that may come into play when we're selecting an option for the customer.
Okay. And I did note, I mean, you have grown from that initial, PCB layout to full service EMS provider, right? So you do the full suite of services now.
Yeah, I mean, PCB layout's still a very important part of our business. We designed, as a company, we've designed over 11,000 unique layouts. We like getting involved up front. The PCB layout is really manufacturing's first opportunity to make manufacturing easier. So our PCB layout teams talking to our manufacturing engineers, building in that design for assembly best practices, but talking to the manufacturing engineers prior to even releasing the board. And we find that our customers that engage us on that complete turnkey turnkey solution really reap the benefits.
And so, obviously developing those after layout, you're going to be doing prototypes. So you get involved in kind of specifying supply chain as well then?
Yeah, so a lot of our customers, they'll come to us and they say, hey, here's my schematic, here's my bill of materials. I need a PCB layout designed. I'd also like you to start driving the material. And that's hugely beneficial for us to start looking at sourcing the components while the design's not finished yet. Because we may run into a trouble part, and it's a lot easier to design that component out while the board's still in design, as opposed to sending the package over after the PCB layout's done and you're kind of stuck with that component. COVID hit, and it was amazing how many designs we were then doing for cost or obsolescence. Designing respins of existing products that we've been building for years that they just needed a different footprint spec in because they couldn't find the component that they were calling for. Getting us involved early on in that regard while we're working through procurement of the material, it helps get product faster.
Yeah. So, John, I mean, there are a lot of EMS companies in the industry, in the world, right? Always one of the downsides. What is it that you think you guys do best? What's your real differentiator there?
Yeah, we've always prided ourselves on being a very agile company. We will work with you. It comes from our background. We're coming out of the design and prototyping world, and we're flexible. When the customers come in and maybe their bomb's not completely mature, they've never built this product, or they're new to manufacturing, we're going to work with them and help see them through that new product introduction, through those low rate production orders, and work with them to get to a more mature product. It's easier for us, it's easier for them, it helps reduce cost, but really priding ourselves on that agility. It's one of our four pillars of success. That sense of urgency is something that we do better than most.
Good. Now, listen, you mentioned with the three facilities you've already alluded to, you maintain a pretty consistent equipment set across the three, did you say? Is that?
Yeah. So, I mean, naturally, when you're growing through acquisition, you're going to end up with different equipment sets.
Yeah.
So we try and take every opportunity to uniform that, make that uniform across our different factories. It helps with tribal knowledge. It helps with, opportunities for promotion within the company at different facilities. COYU, for instance, is an excellent example of us standardizing a automated inspection platform across all three of our facilities. really driving synergies between the factories. It's a
Okay.
great example.
Yeah. Now, so speak to the Co-Young thing as an example then. Did you acquire that? Was that one that you purposefully went out and selected? You went through a selection process that this is the standard we're going to use?
Yeah, so I think 2017 timeframe, we were looking to, really push forward on the quality inspection capabilities at the company level. We vetted 4 or 5 different manufacturers and really nothing compared to the Co-Young machines, and acquired those for our corporate headquarters. And since then, we've just expanded our Co-Young platform across all 3 facilities. Recently, recently acquired 5 new machines that are coming online here in the next month or so across all 3.
Okay. And I know, I'm familiar with Co-Young, obviously, but other than just the machines, how's the experience of working Co-Young and the type of support that you get from them? Because that's always important with
Yeah, I
vendors.
mean, it starts with the training. You can buy new equipment with state-of-the-art capabilities, and if your operators can't use it or they're difficult to use, you're not getting the true value out of the machine. Co-Young has excellent training and support in that regard. We sent technicians, engineers on site to their facility for training. We've brought them on site at our facilities for training. I think periodically we will bring them on site for refresher training. We touch base with them, probably once a quarter. What's new? What can we do better? Our technicians are speaking directly with their technical support team on a monthly basis as some issues arise. The other real draw that we find with Co-Young is the data behind it. We're a very data-driven organization, and their K-Smart platform for statistical process control, data collection, being able to look at your historical defect rates or defect modes across, product lines, customers, component types. It really moved us forward as a quality-driven organization.
Okay. And tell me, do you use, just out of curiosity, on your line configuration, do you use SPI and AOI?
Yeah.
And do you do AOI pre and post reflow, or just?
Yeah, so we're currently doing the 3D solder paste inspection and a 3D AOI post reflow.
Okay.
Being that low volume, high mix environment, the pre reflow AOI is not really cost effective for our volume,
Fair.
our product mix. But we're doing an inline SPI and AOI at all 3 of our sites now from Co-Young.
Excellent. Now, I do know that you have the distinction of receiving let me see if I can state this correctly, the 23,000th equipment number 23,000 from Co-Young, maybe that's a better way, is being installed at your facility. So that's quite a distinction that you're getting, and it speaks to their history in the industry. And that is, I believe, is another AOI that you're having installed this week.
Yeah, that's the Zenith Alpha HS Plus machine getting installed this week out of our Frederick, Maryland headquarters. We've been running Zenith Alpha AOIs for a few years now, and really just wanted to expand our capabilities there with the HS Plus. Lets us inspect a little bit higher profile components that we were seeing more and more on our customer assemblies. But we're extremely happy with Co-Young and glad that we could be a part of their milestone 23,000th machine.
For those watching, Garrett and I joked about this before the interview. How do you say that most effectively? It's a bit of a tongue twister, but I think we got through that. But yeah, so you'll have a bit of a celebration there this week. You'll have some of the Co-Young folks on site, I assume.
Yeah, I think their president, their VP of marketing, and a few other individuals are flying out for the occasion and put together a celebration. It's a milestone for both companies. And
No, it really no, and it sounds like you guys are on a good development path yourself. The ACDi just as an overall business in the EMS industry with the acquisitions, continued growth. You said you bought 5 new equipment pieces of equipment. You know that costs, so business must be good in driving that.
yeah, everybody in the industry went through a few challenging years here the last couple of years, and extremely proud of our team and the grind that we went through over the last few years to put us in this success and this growth period that we're now experiencing. And happy to have a ownership team that is reinvesting constantly in the business. So
Yeah. And it sounds like the industries that you cover are ones that are be very strong here domestically, and that's good. And that type of manufacturing will always need professionals executing.
yeah, I mean, with all the geopolitical activities going on right now, the defense industry is always going to be there. It's reliable numbers every year, and being in that space, a large part of our business, our corporate headquarters right outside of the Capitol, we're in a position to succeed for sure.
Yeah. Now, it's a good story, Garrett, and I appreciate you taking time to kind of share that with us today. Certainly one we'll keep an eye on and track moving forward. Just ACDi, not necessarily the COYU. I'm sure they'll continue to sell thousands of machines, but you're now a part of their history as well, right? So
Yes, big anniversary, for both of our companies this year.
exactly, that's right, and congratulations on that. So, well, Garrett, it's been a pleasure. I wish you nothing but continued success out there, and thank you very much for sharing with our audience today.
Yeah, very nice meeting you, Eric. Thanks for the interview.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.